It is not about the kindness that you give. It is about the generosity that you receive. And I know this because I received one of the most generous gifts of my entire life in the form of a question. And I'm going to tell you what that question is. But first, I need to take you back about 23 years. We met on a double date. When the boys showed up at my house, it was just Brian and Tony. I don't know what happened to the other girl, but I did what any self-respecting 17-year-old girl would do at the time, and I went with both of them. So Brian was supposed to be, or was my date, and he sat on this side of me, and Tony sat on this side of me, and we were watching Die Hard. Clearly, the guys picked the movie. And so we're sitting there, and we're watching the movie, and all of a sudden, somewhere in the middle of Die Hard, Tony starts holding my hand. I'm not sure Brian knows this. I don't know what we told him later on. But needless to say, about 5 years later, Tony and I got married in a little church in Muncie, Indiana, and we knew exactly 2 things. We knew that we loved each other, and we knew that we wanted to have kids. And I mean, I'm talking like I wanted to have kids. I was going to have an entire soccer team of boys, and I was going to drive a minivan, and I was going to have this massive group of little boys. And so we agreed on that. Like, we knew that we were going to have kids, and that was a big deal. You know, when you take those assessments about like what you're compatible on, I'm pretty sure kids was the only thing that we came out truly compatible on. So it took us about 5 years before we had enough sense and enough money to go ahead and have a kiddo. And of course, I was super excited because I knew for a fact that I was going to have a little boy. And I nicknamed my belly. I don't know if any of y'all did that, but I nicknamed my belly, and it was Buddy. And Buddy was gonna have blonde hair and blue eyes, and I was gonna name him Simon, and he was gonna have a British accent. I'm not sure why, but that was for sure what was gonna happen. Instead, we had Carmen. And when Carmen came into the world, I don't know that we could have been more in love. Tony's mom would talk about how much Carmen would smile. And she said, Carmen smiles so much because you guys smile at her all the time. Like, we were obsessed with this kid. And so this is us on our first Christmas, and we laughed so hard about this picture because it looked like a political ad. So it's like, here's Tony Rufatto, and this is my lovely wife, Alex, and our beautiful daughter, Carmen, and I'm running for city council. And that's what we looked like, and we were just like over the moon to have this kiddo at Christmas. If you had told us that 16 months later, that we'd be divorced, I would have called you a liar. But that is true. We got divorced. And there is not much to be said about divorce that is kind and or generous. I have no doubt that everyone in this room has been affected by divorce in one way or the other. And here's what I can tell you. It is brutal, and it is hard, and it is like walking around with your skin turned inside out. And I will share with you one absolutely beautiful moment from this divorce. Tony and I had this little house, and it had a tiny little deck. And we went out on that tiny little deck, somewhere in the middle of all this, and we said goodbye. We held a wake for our marriage, and we said goodbye to all the inside jokes. We said goodbye to all of the things that you only know about the person that you're married to. And we agreed on one incredibly important thing. And that was that this little girl was going to know and love both parents, and that we were going to share her equally, no matter what. So we set out the schedule. Monday, Tuesday, mommy days. Wednesday, Thursday, daddy days. And Fridays we would alternate. And that is what we did. Tony was the first to get remarried, and he married Jen. And let me tell you, I knew Jen, and I couldn't have picked anyone better for Tony. These two are soulmates. 10 months later, Carmen got a sibling. Katie came along, and Carmen was super excited. And so was I, because at this point, I didn't know whether or not I was ever going to have kids again. Was Carmen ever going to have siblings again? And I come from a big family, so I knew for sure that I wanted her to have siblings. So I was relieved. I did remarry, and I did get that boy. He just happened to be a little bit older than what I anticipated. And I also gained a beautiful daughter. I married the love of my life, Clark, and we had our own blended family. So there we were. 2 separate families. We'd figured it all out. We'd patched it together. It was fine. Except for the fact that I oftentimes was not fine. That there were many days, despite the fact that I had 2 older kids, and despite the fact that I had agreed wholeheartedly to share my daughter, there were days that I was alone, and I was sad. And on these days, I would do what anybody does, and I would think about it, and I would get sad, and I would get morose, and I would try to find ways that I could get more of Carmen. So Tony would get phone calls from me that often went, can I maybe just have her an extra day? Or, the holidays are coming up. Can I have her just a little bit more? And sometimes he'd be really great and be like, absolutely. And other times he would say no. And I didn't like the no days, but you got to deal with what you got to deal with, right? But there was one particular time, it was in May, and I don't even remember why, but I was missing her, and I wanted her, so I picked up the phone, and I called him, and I asked, I was like, can I have her? And he said, nope, and I lost it. I lost it. I was like, but you don't understand what it's like. You don't know what it's like to be without her, which really wasn't true because he did. But you don't understand what it's like to be without her. I miss her. I want her. And I said a really brilliant thing, which was, you already have another daughter at home. So I miss her and I want her, and I'm screaming, and he's doing what Tony used to do, which was say nothing. And so I'm crying, and all of a sudden, Jen picks up the phone, and she says one thing. She said, Alex, would it help if we shared Katie? And I would love to tell you that I answered that with beauty and grace, but I think I said something that went along the lines of, well, yeah, of course it would. Give me your kids. That way you know what it feels like. But that's what we did. So for an entire summer, Katie came to my house on the same schedule that Carmen came to my house. Katie did everything with us. She ate with us. She slept with us. Whatever we did, she did. Clearly, I taught her all about how to eat pool snacks like a pro. She was our angel. And what was so great was that she would walk into the house, and she would yell for Clark, but she didn't really get Clark's name, so she would go, "Man, where's my man?" It was amazing to have her. She became partially ours. Not long after the summer, we got some other exciting news, which was that Colin was on the way. And in our world, love does not divide, love multiplies. So Colin became part of our family too. These kids are part of our family. One question, one incredibly generous question changed my life and the lives of so many others in an instant. It is Christmas time, and I have no doubt that you will be kind. What I am going to challenge you to do as you leave tonight is I am going to challenge you to listen for the opportunity to receive generosity. And when you hear it, I want you to say yes. Thank you.